Awesome. And today we have Richard Matharoo, okay? Kind of like kangaroo, but without the K, okay? So Richard is a very successful trainer and coach, and not just doing it like, everybody else does, like training and coaching and things like this, to normal people in rooms and stuff like that. But Richard has been very successful in doing this online. And he's got some very unique strategies, okay, that I thought would be super cool for everybody to kind of pick up on. And he has graciously, very graciously, agreed to share his success strategies with you here today. So Richard, thank you so much for being part of this.
Good morning here from the UK, and thank you for having me on, Arthur. I'm sure I can share something valuable your audience hopefully gains benefit from.
Okay, so why don't you give us a little bit of your background and and what you've achieved and and kind of an overall view of what you do.
Sure. Yeah. So I started out actually as a traditional type of trainer, as it were, in health and fitness. I was very overweight as a child. I lost weight, got in shape. I thought I like this feeling. I want to give it to other people. I think a lot of people who are coaches can relate to that. They like the feeling of playing a part in someone else's benefit. So I got qualified, did that for a few years, owned my own gym with my wife. That went really well up until the point that I trusted the wrong people. For me, if you shake somebody's hand, that's as good as any contract's ever going to be. It's the way I was raised. I was naive at the time. I was only about 20, 21 years old in my first business. Just didn't realize not everybody feels that way. So we ended up losing that business, got a bunch of debt. That then made me think, well, okay, I've got to find something different to bolster our income, to keep this roof over our heads. I'd just become a father at the time. My daughter Ava was about 1 year old. I was working about 80 hours a week, trying to do all these bits and pieces to keep the gym going, to like make extra income. And I thought, well, I love coaching. Is there any way I can get into that? Actually led me to network marketing, which is a business I'd never really looked at before. It's something that I didn't really understand. I got into network marketing because it was such a low barrier to entry. Made some changes to an approach that didn't really work at first. I did 328 presentations. They were all no's. They give you a tracker, Arthur. Track your presentations, right? So I'm ticking off no. I'm like, oh my goodness, why all these people are being so successful? Why? I'm working hard. I'm a good guy. Why not? I got the right reasons. Why not me? I'm missing something. And there was a turning point. My grandfather was like my father to me. I didn't have a father growing up, which is why it was important for me to be present in my daughter's life. So that was frustrating me. We want to fix the things that happen to us as parents, don't we, when we become a parent? So my grandfather was like my father, and unfortunately he died. And I was, by his side. He died about 3 or 4 a.m. in the morning. And then about 9 a.m. the same day, I'm giving a presentation for my network marketing business. And on the way driving there, I'm thinking, what am I even doing? Like, I haven't even had time to grieve at all. I was literally a few hours ago, lost one of the most important people in my life. But we have this pressure as trainers and coaches and entrepreneurs that, the next business meeting, the next presentation could be the one. This could be the breakthrough client. This could be the turning point in your life. We had about 50 grand's worth of debt at that point from that mistrust in the business. I thought, I can't afford not to dig my family out of this. So I go to give the presentation. Lady name was Katie. I'm sat down, and within the first 5 minutes, we've all experienced where, whether we're online or face-to-face, this was actually face-to-face many years ago, we see the body language and the facial expression. It wasn't for her. And she was just trying to find the quickest, polite way to get me out of there. So I did my thing for the next 30 minutes. It was obviously another no. Went around the corner, pulled into a lay-by, and just let it all out. And I thought, this just can't, this is the opposite to what I wanted. I wanted a free business. I wanted a business that I owned that didn't own me. Why am I here at 9 a.m. in the morning when if I was working a 9 to 5, I'd probably get this day off and I'd still get paid for it? This is I'm actually in a worse situation than the one that I was in, and even 9 to 5 employment, I thought, so I got to find another way. I made some changes, moved on to digital marketing, became fiercely obsessed with getting surrounded by the top people in that industry, learning what was working in other professional industries and bringing it back to the network marketing industry. And from that point on, there was a turning point. I managed to recruit over 700 people into that industry. And then what I'm most proud of is because I changed my results so quickly, people started to ask me, Richard, you were terrible. Now you're on these leaderboards. Now you're doing so well. What's the secret? So I started to dip back into my old training days as a fitness coach. But let me do a session with you. Let me do coaching with you. Started to see some people get results. I realized that I'm an adequate player in the field of network marketing, but an exceptional coach. People were getting such great results, and I just felt it so much more fulfilling to have that improvement in them that I gravitated towards, being a full-time coach around about 6 or 7 years ago. Now I've just solely focused on helping other trainers, other coaches, do better in their business, or the network marketers specifically too. We've passed just over £2.5 million worth of sales in other businesses that we've helped generate. So that's what I'm most proud of.
Well, fantastic. So what would you say would basically be the, because it sounds like you started more as a digital marketer and then kind of went into coaching as opposed to the other way around. Okay, so let's say you've got somebody that essentially they're already in coaching, they're already, doing training and everything else, and some are reasonably comfortable with technology, others may not be. Okay, so what would be the first steps? I mean, something that at least would get people to get some quick wins as a coach or trainer, but moving into digital.
Yeah, sure. So there's a few things, some more general concepts, some more specifics. I'll give you both. So generally speaking, the two most important factors of success in any business, especially in something where you're training and putting yourself out there, coaching others, is faith and bravery. You need to make a decision that this is what you're going to do and this is what you're going to do well. There's no room in the marketplace for mediocrity at the moment. There's just too much choice. So if you're trying to do a little bit of this coaching, a little bit of that training, a little bit of this, you're just going to get swallowed up by people like me who come along and say, hey, I'm going to give you exactly this to this exact audience, and I'm very specific. This was highlighted to me once when, I don't remember the Yellow Pages. Like, I'm old enough to remember the Yellow Pages instead of Google, right? We used to flick, if you need a plumber, we used to sort of lick our finger and go, P for plumber, let me call some of these people, right? So, this is the old days before Google, right? And one of my first marketing coaches said, Richard, imagine this. You've moved into your dream home, like an amazing farmhouse, this country cottage type thing. And there's all these original doors inside of the property. Now, someone has sillily glossed over them years and years and years, and there's this thick layer of gloss. He said, do you realize there's a process called door dipping where these specialists can mix a certain concentration of chemical? If they mix it just right for the thickness of the paint and they dip the door just the right time, they won't damage the wood. They'll just take the layers of paint off and put it back to its original glory. He said, now you see two adverts in the Yellow Pages, and we can fast forward this to Google too. He said, and you see two different examples. Number one, someone says, experienced door dipper, many years of experience, quotes given, all undertakings of work done. The second one says, we hand dip antique doors from stately cottage homes only. He said, who are you going to go to? I said, I'm going to go to the second one. He said, why? I said, because they exactly understand what I need. He said, and that's marketing. And it's the same with training and coaching. You're going to get swallowed up if you don't have that faith and bravery to say, you know what, maybe I don't have all the pieces of the puzzle just yet, but I've got to keep on going. And second of all, you've got to have that specificity. If you shoot for everybody, you're going to get nobody. People think, well, Richard, am I not restricting my audience? It doesn't matter who you show, it matters what they see. And they're not going to see enough of a benefit for them. And they're not going to believe that you can give them that result if you're not specific enough. It's like, the old con man, do you want a watch? Do you want a divorce? Do you want a Christmas turkey? It just doesn't make sense. People don't trust that person. So we've got to have faith and bravery. We've got to have that specificity with our target market and our offer that we're going to make. And then third of all, we've got to leverage some basics in technology. You don't have to be a programmer these days. You don't have to know coding. you can either A, hire somebody that does, or B, there are systems out there that will produce most of the, 99% of the result for 10% of the effort compared to 10 years ago. I
Yeah,
use a
yeah.
system that creates funnels. I have a payment processor that's online. I use very few pieces of technology, and I'm 100% digital for all my income and all my clients. So you only need a few basics in place. It's going to give you much more reach, much more leverage. And just why would you constantly have to physically do one-on-one work? There's a limitation to that. With digital marketing, you're able to take your message and, right now I have presentations out there that are making sales for me on a daily basis. I recorded years and years ago. I don't physically have to be there. So that's the huge benefit of technology. And with the recent lockdown and all these situations, we're starting to see that, hang on a minute, if a physical location is taken away from me, what would I do? We need to have something in place now so that this happens again. The world is going to find it easier to do this type of response now to diseases and illnesses. They're going to find it easier to go back there. So we need to have at least a plan B waiting in the wings, if not your new plan A.
Yes, brilliant. Okay, now, one of the things that you've actually started with is automating or digitizing network marketing, which is probably the hardest of markets to do this in. I mean, so what would be, like, let's say, for example, all of the people that, we work with, they want to get new clients. Right? So what are a couple, let's say 3 things that they could do, okay, that would help them to immediately start at least getting leads? Because I know that, I mean, it's not an instant client thing, but I mean, you're getting people to not within your funnels, you're probably getting a whole bunch of people. And then of course, from there, you're getting a lot of others who essentially sign up for network marketing. But how do you take somebody, first of all, how do you get the lead? And then how do you take that lead and turn them into somebody that is, well, basically going to buy your stuff?
Yeah, sure. So there's a few things that you want to do. And the most important one is to put yourself in the position of your target market. So I actually retired from building network marketing years ago. So I'm exactly like your audience now. I'm 100% a coach and a trainer. So I understand that their demands. You've really got to think about, as opposed to what sells, as opposed to what they want and need. We have a tendency to do this. I think this is a great idea. This will be my offer. This will be my product. I think this, I think that. Well, nobody cares what you and I think. What the marketplace is what's important if you want to grow a thriving business. So I made this mistake once and one time only, you either win or you learn, right? So, I'm not great at many things, but I don't make the same mistake twice. So I created a product that it was I driven. This will be great. I think it will work. 6 months of my life, email campaigns, presentation videos, modules, all the rest of it, released it and it flopped. And I was like, I don't understand this. I thought this would work really well. And then someone said to me, well, have you actually asked your audience? Have you actually asked them what they want? I was like, well, how would I do that? Well, just create a survey, put it on your social media. You've got an existing following, even if it's small, you'll get some level of feedback. Okay, I'll try that. So I was like, what one thing do you really need to help with, in your business? And it came back a massive flood of people in my particular industry were looking to get to their first 10 signups, their first 10 sales. 90% of my industry never even gets to that point. And I'm like, man, I've sponsored hundreds of people. I've made hundreds of sales here. So asking that audience, I created a different product called Your First 10 Team Members. I call it the YF10 formula or something like that. It was years and years ago now. Flew off the shelves. I was like, this stuff won't sell because there's people out there saying I can teach you how to sponsor and sell millions of dollars worth of product. I'm saying I can teach you how to do 10. No one's going to pay attention. But it's what the marketplace wanted. They wanted something believable, and that's what they need. So if you're a coach and a trainer right now, stop trying to put a square peg into a round hole just because of the time you've invested in your offer so far. It's painful, but the quicker the better. Actually go out to your audience and ask them. You can use Google Forms. You can use SurveyMonkey. There's plenty of free options. You don't need a budget to do it. Create a simple 1-question survey. Hey, give them something for answering. Give them some value, either a free bonus training or a prize giveaway. Otherwise, people won't do it. So give them a reason for actually giving their time, make it anonymous, and then say, hey, listen, be totally honest and then your target market. What is the one challenge you're facing that if you could overcome this, it'd make a huge improvement to your business? If you want to be in the prize draw, enter your email, but I'm not using your email for marketing. Okay, give them that simple survey. Even if you get 10 or 20 responses, that stuff is gold. You'll look through and you'll see some major differences between what you feel and what your audience actually wants. Now you can give it to them. And then also you'll start to see patterns. Like 7 out of 10 people want to know how to generate leads, so we can start to give them something useful. And then in terms of now we've got a specific offer, something that the audience is going to want, that's going to multiply your existing lead generation efforts. If people see something they want, you're going to get more bang for your buck on what you're currently doing. I'll give you 2 ways, because you asked for 3, that you can also get leads, the best leads. The first one is YouTube. You absolutely want to be creating content on YouTube right now, simply because the marketplace is, again, it doesn't matter what I think, the marketplace is moving towards video consumption. 70% of people plus on YouTube are typing in how to and then trying to figure something out. So this is where I built a lot of my audience, how to generate leads as a network marketer, how to sponsor more people in network marketing. You can do the same for your audience. And what you want to do is, if you can learn the basics of SEO on YouTube, which is way simpler than, say, Google ranking a website, you got no shot with that, but you can rank videos on YouTube. So the majority of my videos are in the top 3 to 5 results. Someone goes in there and types in, lead generation, network marketing, I pop up. They watch my video. At the end of the video, I'm giving them, hey, go opt in here for more information. They go do that on a daily basis. That's a long-term strategy, because what's going to happen is, as you do that more and more and more, I think I have over 500 YouTube videos out there now. I have over 3 million minutes viewed of my YouTube videos. That's a lot of attention and reach that I just wouldn't have if I hadn't have done that platform. And at some point in time, that method will start to outshine virtually everything else you do. It's like putting another fishing net out there, and every day it's delivering fish to your door. So start to get consistent, maybe even just once or twice a week, putting a YouTube video out there that helps instruct your target market, gives them a clear call to action where to opt in after that for more information, and start to do that consistently, get that ranked in YouTube. And then the final method, because the YouTube method takes some time to come to fruition, I would use targeted prospecting, specifically on LinkedIn and Facebook. LinkedIn is very good for one-on-one messaging. It's very good because it has a great search feature. You can go in the search bar, and let's say you are a trainer that's training fitness professionals. You can type in personal trainer, fitness coach, fitness professional, and a whole bunch of people will pop up who've listed that as their bio. You can now reach out to that person. Hey, I see you still doing some great work in the fitness industry. Yes, I am. How's it going? What are your goals? If you feel you could help them, offer an appointment with you or offer your sales funnel, whatever method you use. This is a way you can get leads today. There is not a person alive that if they went out there and sent out 10 or 20 connection requests on LinkedIn, which as we're speaking doesn't limit those right now, you're able to get 2, 3, 4, 5 conversations coming back, and those are potential leads. While the YouTube bills, everything's pointing towards a very specific offer that they desire. That's how we start to make some real progress as trainers and coaches online.
Brilliant, brilliant. Okay, so now a lot of the trainers right now have been really good at getting business in their particular area. So they know more or less what, or at least they think they know what works, because it used to work in a live situation. Mm-hmm. Now, have you noticed, is there any difference between what works in a live situation where you're going into a company or you're doing some work for a group compared to online? Is there a difference? And if there is, how do you tell? How can you move out from the mindset, oh, I know this works because I used to do it this way and people bought it, and now I'm doing it digitally? What's the difference?
Yeah, so there's pros and cons. I'll start with the negatives. If you're in a room of people or even one-on-one situation, and as we're talking right now, if I'm presenting to you, I can read your body language. And if you start doing this, I think, oh, I should change, I should probably change the point that I'm making. If you lean in or your face lights up, I go, okay, let me dig into this a little bit more. So we have that immediate feedback that we just get a sense of when we're actually with people in a live situation. So we can tailor, even if we have a planned presentation, we can go, oh, this isn't working, let me shift gears, or whatever it may be. We obviously don't have that advantage in a digital situation unless we're doing it one-on-one. If we're still using Zoom, something like that, it's pretty much exactly the same as a live situation, you know, because you're literally, it's as though we're there, right? We could be next door to each other right now. Physical proximity is no barrier if you're still wanting to do things one-on-one via Zoom or Skype or whatever you fancy using. The challenges and the differences come when we start wanting to automate what we do. So I don't give any one-on-one presentations at all. I only ever give my sales funnel, and people go through that funnel, and there's me giving a presentation that's pre-recorded inside of that funnel. That's where you've got to really pay close attention. So the advantage, though, of not saying, well, how can I tailor that presentation to my audience if I can't see them, is that you get data. So I use a video company called Wistia, W-I-S-T-I-A, wistia.com. I have a private hosting with those for my videos. Now I can go into my video account and I can see the engagement and the drop off in every single video. So with my presentation, I can go in there every single week, and I will look at where the attention was the greatest and where it dropped off. So the first draft of the presentation you give, let's say it's not converting as you like. You go into your video account, you look at the statistics, and you go, wow, it's going well. And then, whoa, there's a drop. A whole bunch of people don't stay on the video at that particular, 4 minutes and 17 seconds. So I go to 4 minutes and 17 seconds. If what I'm saying isn't vital, isn't something legally I need to say, I'll just snip that bit out. Now the video doesn't have the drop. Now and more people are seeing it to the end. And also you can use your physical one-on-one live situations to create and craft a really good digital approach. So you need to do at least 50 one-on-one presentations. And I encourage my audience to do this before they do digital anyway. Do 50 one-on-one presentations, Zoom or physical. Ask at the end of every single presentation, why did you say yes? What was the main reason why you said yes and you bought my product? Why was and then if they say no, close the book so there's no pressure. Hey, listen, totally off the table now, I get that. Well, I'm just curious, why is it that you said no to this? Was there something major that I did or didn't do? And they'll let you know. Write this stuff down. That's what's going to form your presentation. Because when you now create a digital video, you go to your list of 50 yeses and nos, and you go, okay, I can see 25 people all wished I'd answered this question. I'm going to answer that in the presentation. You're probably thinking X, Y, Z. Well, let me explain that to you. We got that from the list. Same with the yeses. Let me talk to you about the benefits and that are really strong in this product and in my coaching, and we can go to that. Now we're crafting a presentation that the market has really helped shape for you. And also any rough edges, we can remove them in a simple step week by week. So when we do that, we're able, even if we're getting existing results, we're able to squeeze out much more of a higher performance from any digital presentation we do. And then now we can automate. We can happily send people to that presentation. We can gain that time back. We can work on our business, not just in our business. And even if you want to do live presentations, we're able to transition into that and get some freedom back. I got into this business for freedom. The money don't worry, the money's nice. I mean, I love the travel we get. We're just about to move into our dream home. Hopefully next month we should complete on that. There's many benefits it's brought, but time, freedom, you can't get time back. It's the most precious resource. So I'm happy to not do live presentations and maybe miss out on a little bit of income, but I'm getting that time and I'm getting that, that freedom, and I've got that happiness. At the end of the day, that's what counts to me.
Awesome. Awesome. So you mentioned earlier YouTube. Is there any, trick that somebody could use without having, a ton of videos on there to essentially get ranked more easily on YouTube?
Yeah, YouTube has cut all that stuff out. They used to be. So you used to be able to go and just get a bunch of backlinks to your video. By backlinks, I mean you could pay a service to put your YouTube video link on their website. So now YouTube sees 50 different websites pointing back to this video. It must be important. Now YouTube realized that that's what people were doing. So it hit them with a Google slap. Any low quality backlinks just won't work. So it's hard work. It's consistency. And I like that, because what it does is it gets rid of the amateurs. It gets rid of the people that don't really want this. Like I said, faith and bravery. You know, it requires that to be consistent. When my first YouTube video, it was terrible. You know, if you're close to the edge, don't watch it, Arthur. It's awful. You know what I mean? I jumped on. I was like, "Hey, my name is Rich." I thought I was high energy. "Hey, my name is Richard Matharoo," and you know, that was it for like 9 minutes. 9 minutes of me mumbling into the camera. And it took me all day. My wife, I used to be so embarrassed. I mean, now I've spoken on stages, things like that, I don't care. But back then, I couldn't have anybody else around me when I was shooting a video. It made me feel nervous. So I used to send my poor wife out the house. "I'm recording the video today, the video that's going to set us free. Just this one will do it. Leave the house." So she goes out the house. I'm doing it 50 times. "Hello." "No." "Hi." "No." You know, like this, sweating through. So we've all been there, right? Sweating through different shirts. And then I've got my third shirt. She opens the door. I literally open the door and go, "No." And she turns around and goes back out, and I have to shoot it again and again and again. So that's what led. I thought that's the best version of the day, and it was still terrible. So you want to be able to have the flexibility of messing up early on when your audience is small. You know, back then I used to stress out, "Oh, I was focused on small business owners. Oh, well, now I want to change my target market." You know, I used to stress over that. And I was like, there's only 7 people watching my video. So it's not a big deal. I can change my audience, and there isn't going to be this huge upheaval. You know, now I have tens of thousands of followers, hundreds of thousands of podcast downloads, millions of minutes on YouTube. Now it would be a big transition. But because I've built to that level and with consistency, I've become more and more comfortable and secure with the audience that I've got. So I now know that's the one I'm committed to, helping people, you know, build their businesses online. So your audience, you know, if you're listening to this or you're watching, you know, you wouldn't want a trick, because the attention that you would gain would probably cause more problems than solutions. You know, when you're still finding your feet, you may want to change your offer. If you've sold 50 or 100 packages, coaching packages to someone, then you decide you don't like that and you want to change it, that's a problem. You know, you're now stuck in delivering a service you don't like. It's draining you and you daren't change it, and they're making referrals, and now the business owns you. You've got led into and fixed and focused on something you don't even like. That's not the way business should be. So be consistent. Take a look at the actual, that survey that you get from your audience. Use that to create the titles of YouTube, and then go on YouTube in the search tab and start to type in the type of videos you want to make, and it will give you what people are searching for. Now, if you go onto YouTube and you type in, let's say you are a small business coach, and you go type in small business coaching, some other word will pop up on the end. Tips, lead generation, you know, whatever it may be. Make a video on that, because that's YouTube is saying this is what the majority of people are searching for when you type in those terms. Have a play around with it. Get a list of about 10 or 20 so you can forget about doing that research for the next few weeks and just blast out the videos. And then also have a little look at your competition. You know, if you're a brand new YouTube channel and you don't have many videos, you don't have much power, if you like, on YouTube yet, if you type in one of those search terms and the top 5 results are all people with channels with hundreds of thousands of subscribers or thousands of views or whatever it may be, there's no point in going up against them. You know, you want to find some words that people have typed in that when you look at the top 5, you look at these people and you go, they've only got 100 subscribers, or they've only got 25 or 50 views. I got a shot at that. Now you can begin ranking for these lower hanging fruit. You can start to build some traffic. YouTube starts to see more people going to your videos. And now when you start trying to compete for the medium and higher, more competitive keywords, you'll start to see some success and fruition with that. So consistency, having a plan, starting at the bottom, and actually seeing it as a benefit that you can make some mistakes and not that many people will see them.
Brilliant, brilliant. Okay, so any specific last words or any, you know, great tips, you know, that you want to give people? These are people who are just kind of going online, most of them for the first time, and there are trainers, they are coaches, but you know, they're building online programs. So what's the golden tip?
Yeah, 2 things. Number 1, time allocation is everything. You know, there's 24 hours in everybody's day. The only reason you're less successful than you want to be is because you're less successful at investing your time. It's a cold, hard fact. There is no other reason. So then when you accept that, and you accept that everywhere you go, there you are, it isn't the marketplace's fault. It isn't COVID's fault. It isn't the recession's fault. It isn't your parents' fault. It's irrelevant, okay? I'm not dismissing the fact that some people have had some terrible pasts and some terrible upbringings. But the question is, what do you want to do with that? You know, I've got stories I can share about my upbringing that might shock some people. But the thing is, I don't want that to define me. I want to be defined by the person who I am, not what I make excuses that somebody else created. Because at the end of the day, we're all going to be sat there, you know, 70, 80 years old, and we're all going to have a story to tell. What story do you want to tell? Do you want to say coulda, woulda, shoulda? Or do you want to say, despite this pain and this challenge and this difficulty, I overcame it because my desires were bigger than my excuses? There's plenty of excuses all of us could find, some more than others for sure. I'm not debating that. And sometimes things take us off track. Illnesses, relationships, deaths, these things do. But how we react to those things and how we get back on the horse is what's going to determine whether we get results or not. And then specifically when looking at digital marketing, there is no real barrier to entry other than your own mindset. It's how we describe ourselves, Arthur. I don't know how to do things online. I can't do this. I can't figure this digital stuff out. Well, if you say that, that's exactly what your brain's going to find for you. We have a filter in our brain that looks for paying attention to what we tell it to. It isn't magic, it's science. You know, there's so many pieces of information right now in front of just the two of us. The swords on your wall, the brickwork, the TV, your face, you know, your expression, the sofa, and so many things behind me. Our brains need to figure out a way of, well, what's important and what's not, because we can't possibly take in all this feedback. So what happens is the conversations we have in our brain and the words we use out loud, your brain takes that as a way of saying, well, you know what? This is what I should be paying attention to. So if you keep on telling yourself this digital stuff is hard, this digital stuff is difficult, my business is going to suffer because I can't do physical one-on-one stuff, I can't figure this out, I'm overwhelmed. Well, your brain's going to look for proof of that. And when you find a piece of software and you can't figure it out like that, you go, I knew it was hard, I knew it was difficult, I quit. Stop looking for ways out. Plans change, decisions don't. If you really truly want to be the best in your business and you really truly want to make an impact in the marketplace, not just your own pocket, then you need to become a professional. You need to get fierce about how you allocate your time. You need to get fierce about your own personal development and the education that you put into yourself. You need to get fierce and focused on the people you want to help and how you want to help them. You need to have a decision in terms of how you're going to build this business. It will involve digital marketing. You can't get away from that. The marketplace is moving. How we buy things, how we make decisions, how we live our lives, it's moving onto the internet if it hasn't already. You're either going to get left behind or you're going to jump on board that train. There is no massive limitations other than the ones up here. There are simple softwares that you can use that will allow you to be able to put things into place to win on this game for sure.
Fantastic. You know, what's interesting is that right now, just while you were kind of in this middle of this thing, the power all went out. Okay, so I don't know if you noticed that I disappeared.
I did. I saw it was still recording. I saw it was still recording.
Oh yeah. So
so I kept on going. I'm a professional, Arthur.
Isn't technology awesome?
A quick blank to the recording. I was like, we're still good. I'll keep on going.
All right. Awesome. Brilliant. Okay. Well, thank you so much. I'm glad you kept on going. And see that again. Now, I mean, see, that's another tip right there. I mean, the fact that sometimes stuff happens, power goes out, connection drops, whatever. I mean, if you notice that you are being recorded, or you are on an interview, keep on going. Don't stop, because you know that I mean, again, like you said, you're professional. I mean, and that means you've had these kinds of things before, and that's a key factor to be able to just kind of, whatever's happening, it doesn't matter. You just keep going with it.
Yeah. Well, my first internet connection when I first was online, it used to drop just periodically. And I figured out it was about every sort of like 22 minutes, it would just drop. So I got the opportunity to do my first joint venture webinar, there was a huge leader in my marketplace. And I said, I want to make my first product. He said, well, if you make it, I'll sell it. We'll do a webinar to my audience. I was like, wow, this is a huge opportunity. So I had to break it down into like 20-minute chunks because I knew that my internet would drop, but I'm not going to tell him that. I'm not going to give him that opportunity. So we have to just, it's like I was just saying, you know, I practice what I preach. I don't tell people what I think sounds good or what'll sell. This is what I physically have done to get successful. I was just like,
Brilliant.
okay, well, whatever. I'm not turning this opportunity down. If it has to be every 90 minutes, I have to make an excuse and you know, do something different, maybe put a slide up and then click off and click back on again. That's what I did. We went through with it. I think I sold in the end about 35 grand's worth of product on that one webinar. And that back then for me was a huge amount of money, you
Yeah,
know,
I mean, and especially,
you
you
know,
know, if you could help, you know, like the people that are, you know, setting up their first programs. I mean, 30 grand, you know, on a webinar, that would be, that would be like a dream for them.
and
Okay.
it's made me so much more because it opened my eyes. The main
Yeah.
thing that gave me was possibility. I didn't think you could do a 1 hour webinar and make that much money. I was like, well, we'll try this. Let's see. And when you know, I messaged him and it was no big deal to him. I mean, he's an 8-figure earner. How have we done? Well, so far this hour, 35 grand. I was like, oh my goodness. That for me at the time was solve a whole bunch of debts, you know, new car on the drive, puts just so many things that it did, you know, a holiday to take my family away. And then the possibility, I was like, well, if I can do this once, I now have the formula. I can do it over and over and over again. And that's, you know, it led me piece by piece by piece. It's like the corners being put in the jigsaw for me.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Okay. So if people wanted to, you know, get a hold of you, ask you some questions, how do they do that?
Yeah, the best place is probably through social media. I'd say Facebook or LinkedIn are the two places that I frequent the most. Thankfully, my name is reassuringly complicated. So if somebody can see my name in the title of this interview or you know, somewhere along, just go type my name in when you're next on Facebook or LinkedIn. You know, I'll pop up, connect with me. You know, I have an assistant, but I try and get back personally to the messages that someone sends me. And you know, I'd just like to connect with people. And if there's anything I can help them with, if they've got a direct question, I love this stuff. I'll talk about it all day, as you can tell. I'm more than happy to help.
Great, great. Well, thank you, Richard. Thank you so, so much. You know, the information was extraordinarily valuable, and you know, it's really giving different insights to people that you know, are putting this together. And I'm sure that you are making a difference in these people's success. So thank you
Well,
again.
thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to share with your audience. I hope even if one person listening gets somewhere, you know, I feel very good about that. And, you know, I hope that people continue to thrive in this brilliant economy.
Brilliant. All right. Thanks, Richard. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Arthur. Bye-bye.